Hello everybody, welcome to kind of a special edition video where I give some of my cold takes about what's been happening recently with Conquest and CG messing up the data disk announcements, changing the due date or the dismantle date for 6 Datacrons, messing up the store, all kinds of little things that are just going wrong. Some of them actually in a helpful way and some of them in a very detrimental way. But overall, just talking about how we're getting inconsistent information up front and things are getting changed all the time right now. The first thing I wanted to look at, and I kind of have complaints about it from my standpoint, from a planning standpoint, we got an announcement on April 12th from Tuscan Meathead with the upcoming data disks for this Conquest. And this is supposed to be a full list of all the data disks that we're going to have in Conquest, but this is not the case this time. Now, I do appreciate the effort in trying to get out a list of data disks, because before, we just had to wait until Conquest started the first time in the set of 3, figure out what data disks were there. If you go on the Star Wars, or the Songeta Events Discord server, there was like a discussion constantly. It's like, okay, I saw this, I saw Zealous Ambition, I saw Entrenched, saw Amplify Agony, or whatever, just like reporting. So we can try to get an idea of what data disks are out there. And then Tuscan Meathead, who's community manager, was like, oh, you want an actual announcement about this? So they started doing it. I think the last time it was pretty accurate. But the main thing I don't like with this, with the inaccuracies, is this list. I mean, I'm not going to read every data disk, but there's no Zealous Ambition here. There's no Entrenched. But they're in there. And that's a huge deal for planning. For me, I try to make a Conquest plan to just give my recommendations to everyone right away. And in my data disk recommendations, I didn't have Zealous Ambition available anymore, or Entrenched, even though I still talk about them in my video, but like, those are very great data disks. And I think most people know that anyway. But it completely can change up how you want to approach the game mode, and it takes 2 weeks, so you can switch it up. But I was planning all my squads and everything around Amplify Agony, and I still haven't seen a single one. I actually think they didn't have Amplify Agony in the data disks, but I know they do. It's just I haven't been able to get one yet. Caustic Emissions is also there, which wasn't there before, so it seems like it's this list plus whatever was in the other Conquest list, which also causes another problem of there's more disks in the pool, and you already had a problem of finding the ones you want anyway. I'll show you the ones I have so far, but you can it just reduces the chance you're gonna get the specific one you want. So it's kind of annoying. I mean, I wish they get. How hard is it to get the data disk list right? I mean, they have full control, and you can just talk to the people that plan this. I really just don't think that should be happening. That they should give an inaccurate list. So this is my data disk setup right now. It's completely different from what I was recommending in my Conquest video, just because I haven't got Amplify Agony. And there's data disks there that I wanted to have, or that I would have wanted to have, but I thought they were going to be gone. And I've gotten a pretty far in Conquest already. I've gotten through Sector 4, which is pretty fast because I want to dismantle data or get Datacron materials, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So far I've got, I think, 3 Entrenched. The only Zealous Ambition, I'd be kind of, I don't know, almost toast with it. It's a white one. It's the only one I've come across. The 2 big ones, you either want that can be the backbone of your Conquest data disk set is Zealous Ambition and Amplify Agony. I haven't seen any Amplify Agony. I've only seen this white Zealous Ambition, which I usually don't go for, but it has been nice. I have seen a lot of good Ruthless Swiftness, and I've grabbed those. Those are amazing. Entrenched, didn't think it'd have that. Ruthless Offense, so I've been getting some extra offense there. Also, Critical Formation wasn't in the list, and I would have recommended that, but yeah, it just wasn't there. So if you see that one, you can pick it up. Blindside is good for damage. We knew that was going to be there. Potency Calibration, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this on. It was just like I didn't have any good ones coming up. I did find a good Volatile Accelerator. A couple of those. Hone Skills. Some of them were crappy. I did find Voluntary Vanguard, which I was glad, but I've only seen one. Thermal Exhaust, that's not a good one. Ability Exhaust, probably not good. Defensive Formation is like okay, and then a Ruthless Offense and Protection Recovery. So those are all the ones I've gotten myself so far, but I still haven't been able to even get the setup that I had planned on from the beginning. Moving on to some errors or miscommunications with feats. And it always seems like there's a feat where the description is wrong or misleading and people have to figure it out. And there's just, I don't know, it causes a lot of problems and it's pretty annoying. There's one I hadn't come across, but there's feats with the sector bosses where I guess the win with no galactic legends or something were tagged with no, or you gotta win with, it's like the Hoki religions de facto with no Jedi, Sith, or unaligned Force user. So if you used like I don't know, a Jedi team, but you didn't have a galactic legend, you weren't gonna get that feat. I forget exactly which feat it was for, but it was something like that. Which is just you need the feat to be accurately descriptive. But this is the worst one. The 40 battles with Marin Mother Talzin and Old Daka. Like, when in my planning, I talked about it. And this does not say they have to survive. It just says you have to win, which is pretty easy. But having them all survive with a brand new Marin that you might have at Gear 8 or Gear 9 is very difficult. And he just adds known issue. For this feat, the Night Sisters all need to survive. And, like, it doesn't say anything that they're going to fix it. They're just going to leave it for now. And you just have to make a Gear 8 character survive, like, for 40 wins. I don't know. I have 40 with it so far, but it is very unfriendly to non-whale players. And it's just disappointing. Now, this one was a change, but a welcome one. So I'm going to talk about how you dismantle and transition from one Datacron set to the next. If you have a relatively high amount of Datacrons, because you don't want to waste any of that transition data cache, because you got a ton of data crush from that. So the Datacron set 6 was supposed to expire today, the 19th, but they just entered a hotfix to extend Datacron set 6 to expire on April 22nd, which is a huge deal and really helps you get enough set 8 materials to spend the data cache on before your set 6 expires, and a lot of people can take advantage of this, so I'm going to go over that. And I'm going to go in game. Datacron set 8 materials are available in the Conquest tab as a repeating thing. And that's because they messed up with the weekly shipments, where the weekly shipments were supposed to show the new Datacron set and have those mats, but they didn't. They still had set 7 available. So this is it. This is why they extended it, because I don't think it really makes sense. I don't think they needed to, because they actually gave more than they needed to make up for it. In the Datacron store, this refreshes with the weekly shipments, and normally when a new set's coming in, you'll have a chance to buy a couple of the new set of Datacrons and their mats a few days before the older set dismantles. And I rely on this to get like the first look in game for my Datacron review, and I didn't have it, so I did just go off of stuff from Songeta.gg, and I don't know, it just looked worse and I wasn't sure how things were going to work. For example, you can only roll unaligned Force user as a level 6 if you have a level 3. And that's something I couldn't tell if you have light side as your level 3. You can't roll Ufu if you have a dark side level 3 Datacron. That's something I would have talked about if I knew, but I didn't have a chance to do that in time because I left on a trip and these weren't in game. What they did to make up for it, though, is way more just, I don't know, it's like an overcorrection, it's an overabundance of giving, and this is how I've exploited this. So 3,925 Shard Chop currency, kind of high, but if you're wanting to use all your data cache, that's a good deal. I've actually bought several of these because this is refreshing like every 3 hours. Usually I was able to get one, and then if I really wanted to spend, I just use 100,000 ally points on a second one to get stuff to work with, because I don't want to spend time farming them on the Sector 1 node because in the Conquest, because the problem is you have too much data. I have too much data cache, and I don't want to get more while trying to get new Datacron to actually spend it. So this is actually really friendly. I don't think they needed to extend it, but it's definitely something you can take advantage of. And I just wanted to go ahead and go over what my process is for transitioning a set. So I've already dismantled a lot of my set 6s, and right here I have only 6 of them. But if I were to dismantle right now, it's going to go to the new set. It's going to be the purple ones, and I'd get 23 million data cache. And I get that error message, you are going to be above the limit. So let's see what I have with these. I have 14 million. So if the set dusted right now, and I went over, I'd be over by like 7 million, and I would just waste that data cache. But instead, I get an extra chance to go through Conquest and get to the Datacron nodes later on, and make sure I don't waste that, because it's hard to get that. If you're just farming this level 1 node, it's so hard to get it. So what I normally do, and what I was doing until they extended the deadline, I sprinted to sector 3, the end, and I'll just farm this node for, not for those, for these. And it's hard to spend enough data cache with these if you have a lot over, because you can only get up to like level 6, like 5 without any of the level 3s, or you can get to level 6 if you have 10 level 3 mats. But now I have a few extra days. I got like 2-3 more days to work with. So I just went to the end of sector 4. And this is with using 50 refreshes and 100 refreshes. So it took a lot. But now I can just take my time, farm this node, get tons of these, and have enough to use the data cache. It is, I don't know, kind of like a first world problem for Swiga. It's like, okay, I have too many resources. But now I have... so I got the damage over time one, which I like. I'm just going to level it up for stats. 50% crit damage, that's good. And then I use another 1.5 million here. 23% protection. So that turned out pretty good. I'm not going to make use of it with Tuscans at all. So when I look at a Tuscan one, it'll probably just be for stats or this level 3. I am interested in getting some good unaligned force user rolls. So I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade these. 35 crit damage, that's great. Unlock for 1 million. So I'm already making good way. I'm going to have to hit that node a few more times. Ooh, this is a good one. I think that's probably a good one for Star Killers, so I'm really happy to draw that. But even using 6 refreshes a day in Conquest, I still didn't have enough to spend to get my data cache under the amount I needed to be. So without that extension, I'd kind of be toast. And that's even with me stockpiling. I stockpiled at the end of last Conquest level 2 and level 3 mats for set 7 just to spend the resources. But the problem is you're always going to be short on the level 2s because it takes like 300 of them to level up a Datacron. I actually have a good graphic. Let me pull that up. It's an old one. So this is one I made for a set 4, but now it's finally come around and the colors are the same for set 8. You see I have the Lord Bear icon there. But this is the cost for all materials to get from like level 0 to level 3, 0 to level 6, 0 to level 9. To get to level 3, you only spend 500 data cache, and if you just get to the end of Sector 1 or farming for new Datacrons, you're not going to be spending fast enough to upgrade them. If you get to level 6, it costs 2.75 million, so that's a little bit of an improvement. But you need 130 level 2s, tons of less level 1s. I always have like so many level 1s. I wish I could convert the level 1s into level 2s or something. That's not complaining about having too many, it's just complaining I can't get enough level 2s. So don't nerf the amounts, CG. But then if you can get to level 9, that's where you can really spend some data cache. 109, it takes 190 of the level 3s, 305 of the level 2s, which is a ton. So in order to be able to spend your data cache profitably, you really need to have a lot of these materials built up, and giving us this extra delay before set 6 expires, but still before we run a new territory war or a grand arena, it's very helpful, and I actually think they should just keep this going moving forward. And yeah, it's very friendly. It really saved my butt. So that's the main takeaway for players that are late enough in the game to be engaging Datacrons a lot. I know a lot of my audience isn't doing that, so maybe you watch this far and you're like, yeah, this doesn't apply to me, or people already tuned out. But dismantle them ahead of time. You're not going to get nearly enough mats. This is from 1 level 9. Nearly enough mats to use, so you need to get those on your own by getting through Conquest as fast as you can. But you do get a ton of data cache, so just keep in mind how much you need. And even what it says you're going to get to, count on more. Because it says I'll get 23 million when I dismantle all this. But I'm going to get an amount over that I'm not sure of. I'm not sure what it is because of reroll mats. And these leftover set 6 reroll mats is going to dismantle into data cache and then a few other materials. And last time I wasted some data cache because I didn't use enough, and I thought I was under, but I wasted a couple just from the reroll mats. But anyway, that's it for me today. A lot of just errors and bugs and miscommunications we've been seeing lately. I would like to see improvement in that, or just change things to fit this schema moving forward. I would love to see a Datacron set expire a little bit later on each set like it is now. It's very helpful. The Conquest feat, I wish they changed that to where you just win. You don't need a geary character to survive. And hopefully next time we get correct data disk announcements. But anyway, that's it for me. If you like, give me a thumb up. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers.